Good morning. Happy Sunday. Today, we're going to talk about modifications and tips for teaser on the reformer. Before I get into that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching our channel and being a subscriber. If you're not already, make sure that you do. It really means the world to me. We're putting out a lot of great videos that are answering some of them like top questions and also just like a lot of myth busting that's happening. So definitely check out what we've got. We also have a new video up that we released today about back pain and how Pilates can help. So I hope you check it out. Also coming up, if you're watching this in real time, is a mat accountability challenge. So if you go to opc.me/challenge, that's opc.me/challenge, you can actually get on the wait list for the mat version. If you have access to a reformer, you can start taking that one as well. That will be all March long. And then if you're watching this sometime later, don't worry, you can join at any time with that same link. So let's talk about teaser and reformers. This is a common question I get often because most people's boxes are much bigger than mine. That can affect your ability to do teaser. If they're higher, it's gonna make it harder. Also springs, often people are choosing lighter springs, which is actually not helpful. You wanna have a heavier spring setting. So all of my springs are the same. I'm using a Contrology reformer. If you are interested in the equipment that I use or balance body equipment of any kind, they own Contrology. We do have links in our show notes that can help you get some perks on those purchases. But if you're using a other balance body or another brand's equipment, you want to choose a medium to heavy spring. The other thing that's causing problems for your teaser is the length of your strap. I want you to look at where my handle is. Right? So if my reformer is completely closed, so I have long neck springs, then where my ring is on my strap is about an inch in front of my shoulder rest. So a lot of times I see people's handles back here, starting back here, and that is going to make it harder because the physics of it is just pulling you backwards as opposed to being part of where you want to be, which is where your shoulders are going to be, right? So just something to keep in mind, you might need to lengthen your straps. Now, if you have not done teaser on a mat, and something I like to coach you on is if you have access to doing teaser on a tower or a Cadillac, that's really going to help you understand what is happening here. Because I actually find teaser on the reformer one of the more supportive teasers, to be completely honest. I know that sounds really strange, but it's to me over the mat, that's for sure. The mat is so hard. The reason you learn it on the mat is just so you have to understand like what to do and the mat isn't moving. The Cadillac is really nice because it helps lift you up, but the reformer really helps integrate your arms to your back and gives you something to like find your center with, which I truly, truly love and appreciate. The avoided chair is also very difficult, right? So to me, reformer is like where it's at when it comes to teaser. The other thing is if you're not doing extension yet, or if your swan on a ladder barrel or on the mat or on the Cadillac is not actually something that you're a favorite of, that is going to make this complicated. So let me show you teaser here, and then we'll talk about modifications as promised. So we did the tips. Double check your spring tension, double check the length of your strap, and then also your box. If it's higher, you're definitely going to want to have that heavier spring and those longer straps. So I want to get my hips as close to the edge as I can. And then this is how you'd start. You're basically in a swan. See how my arms are out to the side? I'm in this nice back bend. I'm not hanging. There's a difference. That's me hanging. That's me working. And then you pull your stomach into the box and you come up. The pinky side of your hands are going to be into those handles up. A lot of people come up with their palms facing each other or down. That's not going to help you. You definitely want to make sure that the pinky side of the hand is lifting up, like you're holding a bowl here, okay? So that's the teaser. That's what we're talking about here. So now let's talk about modifications. Here's the deal. If you're in a class, you'll need these. If I was teaching you in a private, I probably would omit teaser until you're ready for it on here, but here are some options. One, you can actually start with the knees into the chest. So if the legs hanging down pulls on your back and it causes you to not be able to get into your stomach, start with the knees into the chest and then pull the stomach in, send the legs out as you come up. Then you pull the knees in to come back down. You can do all the things with the arms up here and then you pull those knees in. So think coordination, right? If that is also just like not an option for you yet, the coming up from extension and deflection, what you can actually do is start here and then push into the pinky side of your hand until the carriage starts to move. Pick your legs up, and then you can start from here, right? So you can start from that position. If that doesn't work, if having the legs out straight is pulling on your back, you might hate me, but I'm going to say it's not the right exercise for you yet. And what we believe at onlinepilatesclasses.com is that you replace what you can't do yet with what you can. So backstroke might be a better exercise for you, or it might be better for you to do some rolling like a ball in place of that, or literally omitting and doing a different exercise that's a challenge for you. A challenge for you that's going to build your stamina up, that's going to build your strength up. So those are my tips. If you have struggles with keeping your heels together, please close that chain with a little squishy ball. That's really going to help you there. If you find that you keep getting pulled back, then it's because your straps are just too short and you're kind of throwing yourself up, and then the energy of throwing yourself is being pulled back. All right, so if you have any other questions on this, I'm happy to answer in the comments below. If you are not an OPC member yet, I'd love for you to check us out. Yeah?
What can you do if your box is too big?
Oh,
How,
I love this. You guys have questions live. So Brad is in the background telling me what to do if your box is too big. Okay, you can actually order a shorter box. I know that means spending some money, but you can sell your bigger box online. So there are definitely people who will buy it. There's different reasons to use it. So you can buy, mine's a Contrology box. I don't know that you can buy that individually, but you can buy a centerline box. I had one of my clients who had a home studio buy it on Amazon. So you could do that. You could use our Herc links below to reach out to Balance Body and just buy, they'll call it a sitting box, buy the centerline or the Contrology one. That's going to be the best thing for you. If you're like, not interested, look at your box. If it's all cut up at the bottom, right? Because that's what happens to these. Ask an upholsterer to chop the box down and then reupholster it. That's what one of my clients did in New Zealand. All of her boxes need to be reupholstered. So she just had them all cut an inch down so that the boxes would be better. Now, for how much you should cut off yours, I don't know. What you can do is actually look on the website for a Contrology box. You'll see what the measurements are, and then you can measure yours, and you can do a little construction work on it, have it reupholstered. That's what I would do. They made them bigger, and some of them have a lip on the edges, which is actually, like, to me, a little scary, because if you're going to do teaser and there's a lip, the box could flip. So there's reasons why boxes were made bigger, which are not necessarily taking into account that you'd be doing a classical teaser. Any other questions, Brad?
yes.
Oh, we have more.
Also, can you make the same on the tower? I'm assuming teaser.
Teaser on the tower. Yes. So teaser on the tower, can you make the same modifications with teaser on the tower? Yes. What I do with people for teaser on the tower is, one, I'll even have them to start with their legs staying on the mat, and they'll just do the up part, which is really going to help them with rolling up. Then I'll have them bring their knees into their chest, and then they'll roll up and sit it out, just so that they can understand, like, here's our starting point. But here's the deal. I just want you to know, rolling like a ball, Joseph Pilates would teach this really fun combo of rolling like a ball into teaser, rolling like a ball into jackknife, rolling a ball into teaser, rolling a ball into jackknife. You can actually start people getting in teaser position from rolling like a ball, right? That's all we're doing here, is we're rolling like a ball up into a teaser. So I would go back. How is your rolling like a ball? Does it feel strong, or does it feel like you kind of collapse? Make sure that's solid. Then yes, try these options out with teaser. And I will say, I wouldn't do the one where you just start sitting and then you lift your legs up. You're not going to be connected. But I would do the one where the knees come in and you roll up. And then I would work with them on their double straight leg stretch. I would also work with them with a magic circle, pushing their legs into a magic circle. If you do have an actual Cadillac, you can work with them on breathing, where they actually push into the strap to lift their hips. They need to strengthen their thigh. That's what I call it, right? So the hamstrings and glutes are so key. You should not feel this here only. You should feel, because if these are on, this can't be on as much. So you should feel hamstrings, glutes, inner thigh, stomach, right? So if that's a struggle for you, it's okay to leave this out and then replace it with double straight leg stretch instead. More questions?
What about modifications for teaser on the chair?
Oh, you don't. Okay, so the question is, what about modifications for teaser on the chair? Honestly, if you get my flashcards, these are my flashcards. If you get my flashcards for the chair, I do actually have one modification that I'm okay with. If you're working with a class, if you're in a private session, Can be completely honest, it might not be the right exercise for you, but I also want to know what chair you're on. So if you're in a contrology chair, you have a wide base to sit on, you have a heavy spring that's supportive, it's going to be really safe for you. I see a lot of people on much higher chairs with narrower sitting beds. That makes it really difficult. And then the pedal starts really high, which makes it feel like you're gonna fall. So you want to make sure you have a good spring setting that's supportive. What you would do is you put your feet on a wall, and that way your legs are supported. If you are a teacher with someone, you could hold their legs. But to be completely honest, if they're not able to do teaser on the reformer, I would avoid it because the chair is actually more advanced. I know it doesn't seem that way. I know it seems like the spring helps you up or you're sitting on the floor, but the reality is look at the surface area between this and a chair. The surface area is smaller, which makes it a more advanced piece of equipment, and people can fall. So I would just say, if you're not ready for it there, it's okay. Go play with something else. Go do some shoulder bridge on your window chair. Instead, it's going to build up your hamstrings and glutes.
Does it make sense to have a taller box and a longer reformer?
Does it make sense to have a taller box with a longer reformer? No. No, this box is on both the 86, the 80, and I'm almost pretty sure the 89. A taller box, I don't know where that came from. I'm going to assume it was there was a lot of changes made when physical therapists wanted things. There's also there's also just body sizes. But if it's taller, you have to understand you're going to need more spring and you're going to need a longer strap because you have to go from a bigger extension. So it's really challenging someone to be in they have to be in a much deeper extension, which means they have to have a stronger extension practice. So it's not my favorite. I actually prefer people to have to hold up their own bodies on here. So a lot of people want a bigger box for pull straps. I like the smaller box because I have to hold my own legs up. And if I'm not able to do that, guess what? That's what the Cadillac is for. Or there's ways of moving people on the box to find more support, but it's important that we have to hold our own bodies up. So you either have to hold your own chest up on the box or your own legs up on the box. But if you're having the whole box support you, it's kind of like being on the floor. Great questions, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me live. We'll be back next week from Cabo. With a live for you there. So drop your questions in. If you're an OPC member, you ask your questions in our private members only community. And also today we're doing a live mat class for our OPC members, and they get to get feedback on their form because I get to watch them and give them some information. So accountability, community, and workouts that are on demand is kind of nice, isn't it? So you can go to onlinepilatesclasses.com/YouTube to give us a try out to see if you want to be part of the fun that we have at OPC. Have an amazing day.